I think we've all been there. Your favorite buddy is on the way, you're douched, you're ready to go. When suddenly you feel a stirring down there. No, 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 no. He's going to be here in 10 minutes. I don't have time for this. So you head back to the toilet to douche some more. More water in, more water out. But nothing is helping. The water isn't running clear. With all the misinformation out there, and certainly no help in sex ed class at school, where can one turn to for advice? Today's guest has all the answers to the questions you didn't know to ask about your butt and your gut. I'm Patrick Marano, and this is Queerly Us. Joining me today is the host and co-founder of the Bottoms Digest, the World of Wonder WOWIE-nominated cookie platform, and the holeistic home for better bottoming. Alex Hall believes sex education is a right for everyone with a focus on the butt and gut. Working with queer medical professionals, he's helping us become more confident and empowered bottom baddies. Alex, welcome to Queerly Us.
Howdy. I'm
This
so
is
happy to be here. That was such a good intro.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I thought I would have fun with it. I mean, we're talking about bottoming and
Hmm.
right? Why not?
Exactly. I mean, also it's such a real story what you opened with. So,
Oh, Lord. Well, I just pulled from personal experience.
oh, that's everyone's personal experience. That's why I was like, that's a real world experience.
I have so I've got a playlist on my YouTube channel called Gay and Over 40 where I talk about sex over 40 and stuff
Yeah.
and so relatable things. And I just feel like in my 20s, and maybe you can quickly clear this up if this is true or not. I feel like in my 20s I didn't have to prepare a lot. I was just
Hmm.
always ready to go. And I feel like now there's more prep involved. Is that a real thing?
Yeah, totally. So you're not the first person I've heard that from. And same with my real life experiences. Like, I didn't start douching until I was like 22. I lost my virginity when I was 17. So I was like
Ooh.
successfully having anal sex for 5 years before I started douching. And I started douching because of like a toxic situation where
Mm.
I was with this guy and I swear he just was like, "Oh, I can feel poop in your butt." And I was like, "You're
Oh,
making that up because
oh,
I don't feel it." Like
how can you
it,
feel it with your penis?
how
Can
I
you?
don't understand how this man
Okay.
was even alive thinking, to be honest with you. So,
Okay.
but after that, like that's how so many of us get into this is we
Mm.
get shamed once by some shitty hookup and all of a sudden we start changing all of our habits around and so I think it prep becomes harder as you get older because you've started doing damage on your body earlier than you needed
Ooh.
to. And
Okay.
we have all been overdouching for too damn long and it's done a lot of damage. It's kind of this cycle of doom, I mean, where
Hmm.
it's created more and more and more work as we've gotten older when you reflect on the younger days where you actually didn't have to do any and then all of a sudden you started and it's created this downhill battle really.
Tsunami.
So literally a tsunami, like a tsunami of shit water.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um but yeah, that's kind of where I think that's why it's gotten harder for people. And of
Okay.
course, your gut health changes as you get older, things get
Mm.
harder as you get older. But I think a lot of it is really rooted in the fact that we've been not properly douching for a long
Mm.
time. And now we're living with the consequences in the current day.
But we can fix it, and that's what we're here to do today.
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
I was on your Instagram. I saw you have these
Ooh,
bottoming affirmations for 2024, and I
yeah.
wanted to run through a few of them because they're so interesting.
Yeah.
There, you say there's a difference between being pounded and being disrespected. So why is that
Yes.
important to differentiate?
Oh my God. So I put that down because I have been really into OnlyFans lately. And like OnlyFans is by no means anything new, but I've been getting really like sick of watching porn because porn is just usually so not realistic.
Mm.
And lately, more than ever, it feels I'm not like usually looking for realistic stuff with porn. Like I get it, it's a fantasy, it's produced, all that stuff. But I've really been watching a lot of OnlyFans lately because I love the body diversity that you can find on OnlyFans. However, a lot of OnlyFans accounts, because I've been clicking so many OnlyFans links and stuff, Twitter
Yeah.
is now like, okay, you love OnlyFans.
Yeah.
So it's been pushing me all these like big OnlyFans people. And I've been watching them like pound the shit out of people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even look fun. And we were talking about personal experiences already, and I
Yeah.
feel like I've been in a personal experience with a hookup where they had zero hip mobility or zero awareness on what good sex actually was. They just thought it was Pound Town and that we
Yeah.
just thrust, 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 thrust. And I'm like, okay, let's mix it up. I didn't even ask to be pounded. Like and that's where it kind of is rooted in is like, okay, there's a difference between if I ask for it harder and rougher, and whatnot. But if you just go straight for that, that's kind of where a lot of those OnlyFans videos were going. I would
Mm.
watch them go from like blowjobs to penetration in the first 2 minutes. And the penetration, it would like once the dick was all the way in, it went straight to hammer, 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 hammer.
Yeah.
And as someone that teaches about bottoming and all that, obviously I hope that there was some prep work done off camera with stretching out and all that. But for us as an audience tuning in for the first time, if you do stuff like that, you're going to destroy your
You're
rectum.
gonna hurt yourself.
You're going to
Well,
hurt yourself badly.
that's a good segue because another one of the points you said is I will train my
Mhm.
iconic hole 2 to 3
Mhm.
times a week with training exercises. So of course I'm curious,
Yes.
what does a training exercise look like for your hole?
Yeah, so there's all kinds of different training exercises. So my new sex toy partner, B Vibe, they really specialize in this. They have a lot of anal training kits and stuff.
Mm.
And I partnered with them because they focus so much more on education rather than their own products. It just feels like they push a lot about how to use these things safely.
Mm.
And there's anal dilation exercises are the most popular. Those are what you do with like the glass toys or butt plugs that are different sizes, small, medium, large, largest, larger. Like they just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Um, so anal dilation exercises are ways that so you have the external sphincter and the internal sphincter, and one is controlled by your mind, one is not. The anal dilation exercises help open up your internal sphincter a lot
Mm.
more. That's when you feel the muscle actually letting go. And that's the one that you don't have control over. That's the one that you need time and stretching and actual things up your butt to do the work. So I actually have glass butt plugs in my shower so that on days that I'm feeling especially horny, I'm like, oh, well, I'm already in the shower. I might as well use these. So because they're glass, I can use silicone lube with them. So I'll insert a butt plug in, always starting with the smallest because stress has a lot to do with your butt clenching. So
Yeah.
depending on your stress levels that day, you should always start with the smallest just to make sure you're feeling good.
Mm.
And I'll just do some deep, deep, deep breathing. I usually do box breathing exercises, which is a breathe in for an X count, hold it for the same, exhale for the same, hold it for the same. So I'll do a couple rounds of that. Once I feel that internal sphincter quite literally relax, it almost feels like the butt plug's going to fall out. It's not going to, but it feels like it's going to. That's when you can move
Mm.
on. And it sounds like a whole lot, but you really only have to do this for like 5 minutes a couple times a week. And before you know it, the nerves and the skin and all that gets really used to being stretched out. Your nervous system knows that it's safe, it's not anything to be afraid of.
Right.
So those are really, really, really important. And because that's going to prevent you from getting anal fissures, hemorrhoids, anal fissures being worse than hemorrhoids, way, way
Yeah.
worse. And also just letting you get more used to breathing when there's something up your butt. I think a lot
Yeah.
of people really stop breathing, and that tells your nervous system to freak the fuck out. It's like,
Right.
hey, we're supposed to be pushing things out, not bringing things in. That's like
Yeah.
your nervous system is freaking out. So you have to get it a lot more calm.
Well, and like you said,
That's one way.
it's a muscle, right? You are training it. You train it. You train
Hmm.
your other muscles,
Yeah.
so why wouldn't you train that one? If you want to
Yeah.
use it, right? Use it
Yeah. I
properly.
mean, exactly. So, like, those were the anal dilation exercises. I always talk about Dr. Carlton's butt clock technique, which is inserting a finger into your butthole and going 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, holding it laterally for 30 seconds at a
Okay.
time. That's a great way to do stuff. I love prostate stimulators. I've been using B-Vibes weighted prostate plugs lately, which are stainless steel, and there's a small, medium, and large.
Okay.
So there's all kinds of ways you can do it. It kind of just depends on, are you someone that deals with a really tight sphincter muscle? Are you someone that's tight from the sphincter all the way in through the rectum? You need to like know where you are in your everyday
Wow.
tightness and then
So
start to
everybody's
address that and work
different.
that.
Is that
Yeah,
it?
yeah, absolutely.
Ooh.
Some people have really tight sphincter, external sphincters because they have IBS, but the inside of their
Mm.
rectum is fine.
Yeah.
So it just depends on where your tightness is, and you can
Yeah.
start to train that and work with that and loosen it up over time.
I'm just ready to go.
I know, same. Like, I should
So
have put a plug in for this call, honestly, because like
um
seriously.
okay, so another one of the points about the bottoming affirmations was less douching, more fiber. And a lot of people
Hmm.
don't think about that. And it says 2 to 3 times a day. So what does that look like? What's a good fiber routine?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked. I don't know if you can see this little brown powder right there where my
Uh-huh,
thumb
uh-huh.
is.
Yeah.
That's actually my psyllium husk.
Oh, okay.
So I have it out at in a convenient spot in my kitchen so that I'm reminded to take it pretty
Mm.
often, especially when I'm eating something that's not super high fiber. So it's the new year. I'm doing a lot of like meal prepping and stuff right now. I hate hard boiled eggs, so I do soft boiled eggs, but needless to say, eggs don't have fiber in them at all. So if I have like a little English muffin with one of my soft boiled eggs, I'll mix some of my psyllium husk fiber powder right afterwards with water and just slam it real fast, chug it. And it's not, this is not a sipping kind of cocktail. You really want to drink it as quick as possible.
Right. It's hard to dissolve also in the water
Yeah.
and stuff too, right? So,
Yeah. So the brand that I use, I swear by it because of the dosage. So it's called
okay.
It's Just Psyllium Husk Fiber powder. It's on Amazon. It's like $10, super cheap for
It's actually
70 servings.
called It's Just.
Yeah, it's just psyllium husk.
Okay.
It's just is like the brand, and they have a bunch of different
Oh.
powders where it's like it's
Oh.
just cheddar powder, it's just blah blah blah.
Okay.
Um, so it's just psyllium husk is really great because it's only 1 teaspoon for 4 grams of fiber instead of
Okay.
two heaping
It's
tablespoons.
annoying to do so much.
And
Yeah.
it feels like a loogie that you're drinking when
Oh,
it's too
yes.
much.
Yes.
So this brand, it's only a teaspoon. I'm actually working on coming out with my own fiber powder that follows a similar dosage because
Okay.
it's way easier to just mix a little teaspoon with a little bit of water
Mm.
and drink that really quickly. So I usually do it in the morning after breakfast and then at night after dinner, in between dinner and bedtime, because your digestive system is in a really happy place while you're sleeping. So a lot of us have bowel movements in the morning too. So
Hmm.
that fiber can do a really good job while you're sleeping for you to pass a pretty good bowel movement the next day. Um, but I say 2 to 3 times a day because you know those like Japanese restaurants where they have like the rotaries where like food is coming in and food's coming out on a
Yeah.
rotary belt.
Yeah.
Um, your body is kind of like that, where you're taking food in through the mouth and passing food out through your butt at all times. And I mean, you're not always pooping, but you're eating throughout the day and stuff.
Some people are.
Right, there's things coming in and there's things coming out. And when you think about it, that belt is coming out with gaps because someone took food off of it or something. So you want to try to get fiber in when you're taking food in so that that fiber has a chance to bind to foods that
Oh.
don't have high fiber in them, like protein, meat, eggs, chicken, that kind of stuff doesn't have any fiber. So if you're eating like broccoli and chicken for dinner, the chicken, like the broccoli has tons of fiber, but the chicken has none. So you want to balance that out a little bit.
Yeah.
I tell people to take powder because it's way more concentrated. The capsules are low key a ripoff.
Oh.
There's not even a gram of fiber in each one of those capsules,
I have
and
capsules. Oh no.
I mean they're fine,
No
but you
wonder
have to
it's not
take a lot.
working.
Right, you have to take a lot more of them.
You do, and I don't like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're a lot drier. My
They're
this
hard to
is not.
swallow too. Like I'm not a good
They're hard
swallower.
to.
So
Makes one of us.
I,
It's like.
And
But
so it gets yeah. Okay.
seriously, there and actually I found this out when I had a hemorrhoid. I went to the doctor last year for a hemorrhoid, and I try to take advantage of my doctor for that kind of stuff just to make sure nothing's ever turning into an anal fissure or anything.
Sure, yeah.
If you have a hemorrhoid, it's super chill, everyone. Like, it's very common to get one in your
Oh
life.
my God, yeah.
But if it starts to really bother you after like 2 weeks, that's when you should go get it checked out. That's where I went. I went to the doctor because after 2 weeks, I was like, okay, I just want to make sure this isn't that. And I told them that I was taking capsules at the time. And my doctor actually told me that capsules are too dry. They were like, you need to
Mm.
be doubling up your water intake
Right, 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 right.
because of the processing process
Because you're
that
just swallowing the capsule. It has all the stuff inside. Then your
yeah,
stomach dissolves the and now it's just like powder in your stomach almost,
yeah.
right?
And like
Like,
that powder goes through an extra processing that I did not know about. It's just
mm,
extra dry. So as long as you're drinking, like I drink this is a huge gallon thing of water that I'm showing on camera
yeah.
right now that people can't see, but I drink like 5 of those a day. So that's
Ooh.
probably fine.
Mm,
But if you weren't drinking enough of those a day, you're actually constipating yourself because fiber doesn't do its job unless you're hydrated.
that's
It's
right.
just a dry powder without all the water.
And its
And
job is to make you pass bowel movements that are good and clean.
yeah, it does that, but it also binds the things together. So, like psyllium husk, if you mix it in a glass of water and let it sit,
Mm,
it becomes like a jelly after 10 minutes, really. It's pretty quick. And that's because that's its main job. It binds things together, it pulls in the water to bind the food together.
mm,
So that's how you're able to pass not only good bowel movements, but soft ones so that there's no strain. If you're straining and taking a lot of fiber, one, maybe keep your phone out of the bathroom so that you can focus on pooping and breathe through it a little better. But two, you might
yeah.
not be hydrated enough with the amount of fiber you're
Yeah.
taking. So the fiber powder is actually just sucking the water out of your gut because you're not drinking enough water. And that's what's making you constipated on the toilet, and the fiber's not doing its job.
It's like science.
It's truly science, and that's not even like I'm not a scientist. I talk to GI doctors to get all this information. I just pass it along. I'm just the queen. Like
Yeah.
I'm just
Well,
the
you're the
queen.
messenger.
Yeah,
You're
seriously.
the handsome messenger that
Oh
makes
my
taking
God.
well, no, but I mean it's easier to take from you than from a some GI doctor, some really bland person that's like,
I
you know.
think so. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I actually come from a background in reproductive rights. And
Mm,
one thing that the reproductive rights movement failed miserably at was just communicating it to people where they're at in life and like not using a lot of political lingo and all this
mm,
crap that people don't understand. And unfortunately, a lot of GI doctors use a lot of lingo that people don't understand. And I love Dr. Carlton. Dr. Carlton Thomas is the GI doctor I talk to all the time for the Bottoms Digest. He has a huge queer following himself. And he's just really, 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 really knowledgeable. And I just did a YouTube video with him about anal fissures. And even then, I had to look up a couple words he said. Uh,
yeah.
I defined them on camera so that everyone knows what he's talking about. He used the word chronicity, and I was like, "What the
Oop.
fuck does that mean?" I grew up in a trailer park, baby. What does that mean? And I found
Knesset?
out it means like the amount of times that something comes back chronically, basically, is what that meant. But
Okay.
to your point, GI doctors will just say that stuff on a TikTok video,
That's
whereas
right.
I'm like, bitch, do you want that to come back again? Like that's my
You
way
can
to say.
translate it for us. Yeah, yeah.
So, just so everyone knows, I'm not out here trying to say I'm a fake scientist or something. I am passing along the information that I get from the GI doctors that I work
In a
with.
way that we can all hear
Yeah, and
and
like,
understand.
yeah, basically in like drag race lingo, and
Yeah,
like, and
perfect.
but meeting people where they're at in a much more educational way, and making it fun and funny because that's just who I am. I don't take this is gay sex. This is
Oh my
bottoming.
God.
This is butt
No.
sex. This is not serious. I mean, your safety is serious, but like the topic at hand, the umbrella topic, it's the funnier we can make it, the more I think you'll find yourself even laughing in the bedroom when you're having sex, which is healthy.
Yes, humor. I think a lot of people are lacking that a little bit in the bedroom, so we should bring
Huge.
that back.
My joke lately is if you're not making fart sounds from the lube, you're not using enough, and like
That's
you should be
hilarious.
laughing and having a good time.
Well, so that was another one of the points was like just when you think you have enough lube, do two more squirts, right?
Oh
So do
my
you think
God.
people are underusing lube when they're bottoming?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. So first off, a lot of people are using water-based lube for anal sex. That is a no-no. You
Mm.
have to use water-based lube on silicone toys. That is when it's okay. But when you're having sex, you should absolutely be using silicone lube because different girths of penises, different girths of like hard plastic strap-on toys for people that aren't penis havers that have anal sex and stuff like that. But I've watched too many times where like, okay, in porn, we don't see them ever put lube on.
No, 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 no. It just goes right in. Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes right in. Most
Yeah.
of the time we'll see them spit. A
Yeah.
lot of times in movies we see them use spit. I mean, even in that Fellow Traveler show, they use spit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's just not right. And that's also not healthy at all. Spit has enzymes in it that break down stuff.
Oh,
So it won't destroy your asshole, but it
yeah.
does get sucked up pretty quickly. And it might feel good in the moment, but you might be causing damage that you're not going to feel until all the sexual chemicals in your brain have come down. So I always say that I'm actually making a TikTok video on this because when he puts lube on himself, he'll do like 3 pumps. But when I start on top and I put lube on his penis
You do
to get on top,
five.
I do at least 5, 7. I do so much that there's a pool in my hand and I have to do this quick like hand turn to get it all on.
Oh,
Because you truly cannot have too much.
okay.
You truly cannot. There's no such thing as too
Better too
much
much
lube
than
with
not
anal
enough.
sex.
Yeah.
Truly.
Because you
Like
could damage yourself too, right? I mean,
absolutely. And it's
yeah,
not a vagina. It's
it's
not.
not a vagina. It's not self-lubing. Although my sometimes I feel like I am, but I know it's not. No, I'm
Yeah,
being serious.
you can tell yourself that all day. That means you've had enough water today, and that's a great base level to start with,
There we
but you
go.
still need a gallon.
So, okay, there's so many misconceptions about
Oh God.
bottoming, about, sorry, douching. Um,
Hmm.
it's so funny because it seems like something that should be so simple to explain and simple to do, but
Yeah.
there's so many people struggle with it. So what are the main things that people are doing wrong that you've heard? Like
They're using douches
stop
too
doing
big.
this.
Yeah. Number one is they're using douches that are way too big. I'm actually coming out with a douche myself because I'm so tired of people using the big ones.
Yeah.
I have a very small one. I've been using my prototype for the last year
Do you have
because
it?
yeah, it's actually right here. Let me,
I would love to
because
see
I,
it.
this little baby.
So cute.
And everyone's always like, that's not gonna be able to handle the
That's
dick I
too
take. I'm like,
small.
it truly is the perfect size.
Mm,
Fisting is always its own category, and it
right.
depends on how experienced you are with fisting, right? Like some people can go up elbow deep.
Yeah, I
That I
know.
don't think you should ever really clean out that level for because
Yeah.
like if you're going elbow deep and think you're not going to find poop, you need some sort of different help. I don't know what to
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah.
You're going swimming and hoping to stay dry. I don't know what the fuck to tell you.
Yeah.
But this douche,
But for penises.
yeah, like my husband is packing. He is packing. I
Ooh.
like everyone thinks like that's something to be grateful for all the time, but that's why I do a lot of this
Well,
education on
that's why you
how
have
to
the seven
bottom for
pumps of lube too.
yeah, seriously. I
Yeah.
mean, like that's why I do all of this education to be like, no, this little douche has been doing the job for
Mm.
big dicks. And the thing is over the years of working with GI doctors, I've just learned so much about how these large douches have large nozzles too, very
Yes.
long nozzles, and they reach way past the point that they need to. And there's a curve past your rectum called the rectosigmoid junction, and it goes into your sigmoid colon. And a lot of these huge douches, the nozzle goes right into it and shoots water into that.
Ah.
And basically what that's doing is it's pushing out stool that was not even ready to leave your body. That's
Oh.
why when you're on the toilet douching over and over and over again, it's just
Over.
poopy water
Yeah.
and not even like solids coming out anymore.
No, no, no. It's just brown water.
It's just brown water, and it's because you've over douched way too
Mm,
far. And
yeah.
unfortunately, the only way to come back from that is to stop douching and to like let your body get back to normal. I say that if you've spent more than 20 minutes douching and it's just brown water, brown water, brown water,
You're
you need to
done.
stop and you need
Yeah.
to either pivot to foreplay or something completely different, or be okay with that. I mean, I personally find bottoming with any kind of water in me to be super uncomfortable and painful.
Mm.
But that's the other problem is when you over douche past that point, water gets trapped. So you might think you're good. And then when you're writing, all of a sudden water comes out. That's the other
Oh.
problem with over douching is you might be shooting water past and you think you're good, but then 20 minutes later, I mean, even walking can stimulate your bowels. So
Yeah.
you might be walking around your house and all of a sudden be like, oh, what is that? And so that's the biggest one is a lot of these big douches. And I hate it because you go into these sex shops and stuff, and unfortunately, a lot of them don't even have the proper sex ed. So they just buy these things from a manufacturer and think that they're just the same. They're just doing the same as everyone else.
That's
And
the right thing. Because you
yeah,
just want to sort of flush out the bottom part, right? What is it called?
yeah,
Is it
correct. The rectum.
the
So the
rectum?
anus and the rectum.
Mm,
Yeah, the anus. So your external sphincter, the anus, and the rectum, and it's like 8 inches total, all of it.
yeah.
And even that curve, like that, everyone's like, well, what about that curve? I'm like, what? I got to get that clean too. What about 10-inch penises? So even then, like you're good because your poop is being stored around the corner.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's
It's in
that
a
is
holding
place.
cell,
Yeah, it's in a
right?
holding cell. And
Yeah.
even like for fisting experts, it takes time to stretch out that curve. That's why they
Mm,
do training sessions and stuff. So yeah, over douching with these giant douches is the main culprit. And fiber, if you just take fiber supplements or fiber powder or get enough fiber in your diet naturally, which is pretty tough. Like I won't lie, it is pretty tough to do that. The daily dosage for men is like 30-ish grams a day.
yeah.
And then the daily dosage for women is like 20 to 25 grams a day, I believe. Um, and a lot of people only get half their daily fiber. So if you can bridge the gap with fiber supplements, that is pulling all the debris out with it when you go to the bathroom so that if you even need to douche, you can get the last bit of particles that are left after a
Yeah.
good bowel movement. But some people are so good on their fiber game and they've been doing it so long term that there is nothing left in their rectum when they go to the bathroom.
Wow. I want
Yeah,
to get to the point where I don't have to wipe. What a
seriously.
dream.
And it's truly
I know it's a thing.
doable.
Yeah.
It's truly doable. There have been multiple times where I have a bidet, but sometimes I will do a quick wipe first to before I use the bidet to see how it went. And
Mm.
if it's a clean wipe, 10 out of
Oh,
10,
I get
you
so
are,
happy
ugh,
when I
that's the
see that. When
best.
I see nothing, I'm like, I,
When you see nothing,
oh,
you should absolutely try having sex that day without douching and see how it
hurry up and go
goes.
have sex. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you should. I mean, you don't even have to hurry up. You're usually pretty good for the
Yeah.
rest of the day. If you know your
Wow.
regularity, like if you know your regularity and you don't eat any foods that
That's
trigger
true.
you,
That's
you're
true.
pretty good. Like,
Well,
um,
there's so much to talk about, and we only have like 5 minutes left. And
I know, I'm
we
sorry.
could talk about coffee. We could talk about all of these things
I know I
because
could talk
I
about
love,
all this shit all day.
I know. Well, you're gonna have to come back. But
Oh, yes.
do you want to wrap it up with bottoming aftercare, or do you want to talk about food? Because I know the kitchen is a big part of that for you.
Yeah, let's talk about food because I think a lot of
Okay.
people don't really know what I mean when I say trigger foods. So when just a second ago when I was like, you can bottom for the rest of the day as long as you don't encounter any trigger foods,
Yeah.
that is very individual specific.
Mm,
Whether you have IBS or not, a
right.
lot of us have some sort of trigger food. So for me, for instance, I know that broccoli and even like green lentils are a new discovery for me as a major trigger food.
Oh wow.
So the benefit of trigger foods is that they're usually very healthy, but you will know within 30 minutes or so that it's a problem food for you. So for me, I had lentils the other day in a soup that I made. Oh my God, I was so crampy within 30 minutes. I was gassy all day. That is a trigger food. And next time I want to bottom, if I had my bowel movement in the morning, it was a great bowel movement. I might douche, I might not. If I don't encounter any of my trigger foods for the rest of the day and I'm feeling light as a feather, like good, not gassy and bloated, anything like that, then I'm good to go. Dairy is a major trigger food for a lot of
A
people.
lot of
That's why
people.
my channel
Yeah.
is primarily dairy free, because dairy has no fiber in it. A lot of people are lactose intolerant. The
Mm,
sugars in the lactose, which is the sugar in dairy, that's what causes the gas and bloating. So we don't really primarily focus on poop at the bottom side, just we focus on that gas and bloating sensation because a lot of people starve before bottoming,
yeah.
but that is so silly. Like you can eat 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, all that before bottoming, as long as you're not eating food that makes you uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Um, because when you're having a bowel movement, you're passing food that you ate a day
Like,
ago or two
yeah,
days ago.
right?
Like you're not passing what you're about to eat. So it makes a lot more sense to think about how something makes you feel in the next 30 minutes rather than is it going to make me poop?
Yeah, it might make
Like
you bloaty and uncomfortable, but it's not going to affect your pooping schedule
Yeah.
so
Which
quickly.
bloating and gas, wildly uncomfortable when
Yeah.
bottoming.
Yeah.
Very, talk about like a way to really feel shitty. Like if I ever feel bloated and bottom, it feels like there's a knife up my butt instead of a penis.
Mm.
And that's pretty important to be in tune with.
For sure. I get really self-conscious if I'm a little bit bloaty because I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm going to fart." Like
Right.
air is going to escape on their face or on their
Yeah.
on them somewhere and it's going to be like and it's just embarrassing. Like, I know nobody
And
wants
like for me,
uncomfortable.
I've been with my partner for 8 years. So like that's a different thing. If it was a hookup,
Sure.
I would be more like, I'd be like, oh shit, oh my God, I don't want to do that.
You probably try to
And
do it on
that,
purpose with your partner just to make him laugh.
right, right, depending on what kind of day we're having, right?
Yeah.
Um, so, but like to your point, if that is something that bothers you, because we got to honor all people's boundaries and stuff, like if that is something that bothers you, that
Mm.
only leads to stress, which is fucking up your whole
That's
bottoming
true.
experience. Because now you're clenching, you might not even notice you're clenching, and you're not aware, you're not present, having a
Y-
good time.
That's
You're all
right.
of a sudden stressing and freaking out about these scenarios that aren't even happening.
It's all connected.
It
Alex
truly is.
Hall, the Bottoms Digest. Where can people find you?
Oh my God, you can find me everywhere. You can find me on YouTube.
He's everywhere.
YouTube's been our jam lately. So the Bottoms Digest on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, but also my website, thebottomsdigest.com, is a great place to find lots of resources. Our FAQ is up there where we get tons of questions that we try to just synthesize it into one place. Our recipes live there. And our douche is about to be up there, as well as our new blog that we're also working on with a lot of these videos and stuff that we work on tangible in a more tangible way that people that don't want to listen or watch stuff, they can just go read it.
Well, that's it. I mean, like you being everywhere makes it easy for anyone to get the information because people receive information in different ways. So,
Yeah,
and this
absolutely.
is one of them right now that we're doing. So, thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Thank you so much for coming on Queerly Us. We're gonna have to do it again because there's more topics that
Yes.
we need to to
Yeah, it's
discuss here.
nuanced. Nuanced topics have a lot of granular detail. So
Yeah. Thank you so much.
thank you,
Thank
Patrick.
you.
Appreciate it.
And for the rest of you, I will see you in the next episode of Queerly Us.